Every career has a moment where someone undervalues themselves without realizing it. A negotiation where they ask for less than their worth, a promotion cycle where they assume they're not ready, a job search where they filter out roles they're not fully qualified for. From the outside, it looks like a confidence issue, but inside, something deeper is happening. Their internal accounting system, the cognitive balance sheet, is outdated. They're making decisions based on numbers that no longer reflect who they are. Assets they've built aren't being recognized, liabilities they've outgrown are still being carried, equity they've earned hasn't been added to their ledger. Most people don't realize they're running their career on old financials, but once you understand your cognitive balance sheet, everything changes. You stop mispricing yourself, you stop undervaluing your capability, you stop making decisions based on outdated numbers. Welcome back to the Risk Manager's Guide to Money. I'm Jay Malcolm. Today we're exploring the cognitive balance sheet, the internal ledger that tracks how you see yourself, how you evaluate opportunities, and how you price risk in your career. This isn't about positive thinking, it's about internal accounting. It's about understanding the assets you've built, the liabilities you're carrying, and the equity you've earned, and the unrealized potential sitting off the books. When your cognitive balance sheet is accurate, your decisions become sharper, your negotiations become stronger, your career becomes more intentional, and your earning power becomes more aligned with your actual capability. Every career is built on assets, think skills, experiences, strengths, and patterns that generate returns. Some assets are obvious, like technical skills, domain knowledge, and leadership ability, while others are subtle. Think composure under pressure, pattern recognition, the ability to read a room, or the ability to learn quickly. Assets compound. They grow with repetition. They become more valuable as environments become more complex. But assets only matter if they're recognized. If they're not on your internal balance sheet, you won't use them, you won't leverage them, and you won't negotiate with them. A career accelerates when your internal accounting finally reflects your actual capability. Every internal ledger also carries liabilities, beliefs, fears, distortions, and outdated narratives that drag on performance. Some liabilities come from early career experiences, some come from environments that undervalued you, some come from moments where you failed before you had the skill to succeed. Liabilities aren't flaws, they're historical entries, they're numbers that haven't been updated. The problem isn't that liabilities exist, the problem is that people treat them as permanent. They assume the liability is a part of their identity instead of a part of their past. A liability only becomes dangerous when it's mistaken for truth. Some experiences don't disappear, they linger, they accumulate interest, they influence decisions long after the moment has passed. This is emotional debt, unresolved experiences that continue to cost you. Debt shows up as hesitation, it shows up as overcorrection, it shows up as avoidance, and it shows up as self doubt in moments where you should feel confident. Emotional debt isn't weakness, it's a signal that something in the system needs to be reconciled. And once it's reconciled, the interest stops accumulating. Equity is the value you've built through competence, repetition, credibility, and resilience. It's the part of your internal ledger that grows quietly in the background. It's the confidence that comes from doing something well, repeatedly, under pressure. Psychological equity is what allows you to take bigger risks. It's what allows you to step into roles that stretch you. It's what allows you to negotiate from a place of strength. Most people underestimate their equity. They forget how much they've built, they forget how much they've survived, they forget how much they've learned. When you recognize your equity, your decisions change. Not everything grows. Some environments weigh you down, some roles drain you, some relationships erode your confidence, some responsibilities take more than they give. Depreciation is real. It's the slow decline of internal value caused by external conditions. Most people don't notice depreciation until it's obvious burnout, frustration, stagnation. But depreciation starts quietly. It starts when your environment stops rewarding your strengths. It starts when your role stops challenging you. It starts when your growth slows. A healthy cognitive balance sheet requires recognizing when something is losing value. Every person has capabilities they haven't recognized yet, skills they haven't used, strengths they haven't tested, potential they haven't realized. These are off balance sheet assets, hidden value that hasn't been accounted for. Sometimes they're invisible because you've never been in the right environment. Sometimes they're invisible because no one has pointed them out. Sometimes they're invisible because you assume they're normal. But off balance sheet assets often become the most valuable part of a career. They're the capabilities that change your trajectory once they're finally recognized. Every career has moments that force you to update your internal accounting: a new role, a major win, a difficult failure, a shift in responsibility, a change in environment. Reevaluation events are inflection points. They reveal assets you didn't know you had. They expose liabilities you didn't realize were holding you back. They show you where emotional debt is still active. They highlight where your equity has grown. A reevaluation event is not a disruption, it's an update. It's the system recalibrating itself. Once your balance sheet becomes accurate, something powerful happens. You gain leverage, you begin making decisions from clarity instead of fear, you negotiate from value instead of insecurity, you take risks that align with your actual capability, you stop overreacting, and you stop undervaluing yourself. Cognitive leverage is the multiplier effect of internal accounting. It's what allows your career to compound. A mature cognitive balance sheet doesn't just describe who you are, it guides where you're going. It becomes a strategic tool, a way to evaluate opportunities, price risk, and position yourself for long term growth. High performers don't make decisions based on emotion, they make decisions based on internal accounting. They know their assets, they know their liabilities, they know their equity, and they know their potential. Their internal numbers are accurate, and accurate numbers lead to better decisions. There's a point in every career where the cognitive balance sheet stops feeling like a document you update and starts feeling like a part of who you are. It becomes less of a tool and more of an operating identity, a quiet internal standard that shapes how you move, how you speak, how you negotiate, and how you evaluate yourself with conscious effort. Integration is different from strategy. Strategy is deliberate, integration is automatic. Strategy requires thought, integration requires alignment. When your balance sheet integrates, you no longer have to remind yourself of your assets, you just act from them. You no longer have to manage your liabilities, you stop feeding them. You no longer have to calculate your equity, you carry it. You no longer have to search for your potential, you assume it. This is the moment when internal accounting becomes identity architecture. Your decisions feel cleaner because they're not filtered through insecurity. Your communication feels sharper because it's grounded in clarity. Your presence feels stronger because it's built on numbers you trust. An integrated balance sheet doesn't make you louder, it makes you steadier. It gives you a kind of quiet internal authority that other people notice long before you do. This is the final evolution of the system, the point where the ledger stops describing you and you start defining how you move through the world. So, if you remember one thing from this episode, remember this. Every career has a visible trajectory: the promotions, the opportunity, the compensation, the reputation. But beneath the trajectory is an invisible ledger, the cognitive balance sheet that determines how you think, how you decide, and how you move through your professional life. A system that learns becomes a system that scales. A system that scales becomes a system that signals. A system that signals becomes a system that compounds. The real leverage isn't the moment you're in, it's the system that carries you into the next one. Thanks for listening to the Risk Manager's Guide to Money. If this episode helped you see the internal accounting system beneath your career, the assets, the liabilities, the equity, the debt, the unrealized potential, then share it with someone who's trying to make intentional moves in their professional life. Careers accelerate when the internal numbers are more accurate, and once the balance sheet is clean, the trajectory becomes clear. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. Thanks. See you in the next episode. Signing off.